Good evening, I'm Doug Pollard, and joining me tonight is Glyn, the chair, is that the correct title?
It is, Doug, yes.
Midsumma. So we're now, what, a week or so into the festival?
2 weeks.
2 weeks into the festival.
How's it gone quickly for you, obviously.
It's flying by. How's it gone for you so far?
It's been terrific, Doug. People are saying it's the best festival ever. We're all off and running. It's hard to imagine when you work 49 weeks of the year on a 3-week festival. Once you actually start, then it takes a week to believe that it's actually running, and we're up and running.
So how was the opening night?
Opening night was terrific. We had record numbers, a couple of thousand up on previous years.
Really?
Yes, and we've had, you would have seen some of the entertainment on the main stage. Iota was a big hit, fresh from the Hedvig success.
Yep.
And the other surprise hit of the night was our new Cabaret Tonight Show style show at BMW Edge, which I'm not sure if you got to see, but they had a sideshow alley and various acts going on down there, which were pretty popular. It was nice to have different zones for people to go to, different places to move around the square rather than just being in the main square all night.
And of course, our very own gay farmer was down there joining everybody.
David Graham was down there. He's now our dancing gay farmer.
Dancing with the stars.
He's he is the star as far as our community is concerned, isn't he? Yeah, he was pretty popular. It's we were spending some time looking after him, but he doesn't take much looking after. He gets
noticed.
mobbed. In fact, the only person who gets mobbed more than David Graham is John Soh, but we knew that already.
Well, I remember at the Rainbow Awards when the two of them hugged, it got the biggest round of applause.
I can imagine it would. Let's not go there. It's quite an image.
It is quite an image, isn't it? So what came after that? We've got Acme.
Acme, we've got running throughout the festival. Actually, for the first time at Acme, we've got the a festival club called Summer Nights, which is in the Acme Lounge upstairs, adjoining the main square. By day it's a sort of cafe space or whatever. We're taking that over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Thursday nights cabaret, Friday and Saturday nights DJs.
Yeah.
And we started that last week. We had it's hosted by or emceed by a guy called Ruben Crum, who's just hilarious. He's about 7 feet tall. And very, very funny. So he MCs the night and bashes out a couple of numbers. We had Geraldine Quinn, we had Pastel Vespa, and we had the boys from Suede, the a cappella group, who had everyone wowed. So it's a fun night.
And you've also got cabaret going on down at the Butterfly Club as well.
Yeah, great season at the Butterfly Club. Bob Down is down there, and also Tina Del Twist.
Yes, you can have a star in your lap.
Yes, you can. There's nothing like very personal engagement at the Butterfly Club.
That is really a really intimate review, isn't it?
It's an amazing venue. I mean, you'd never sort of think that to do it that way, but now that they have, it's terrific. It's just the sort of intimate venue that works really well for Midsumma shows.
Yes, it's like having a show in your nana's lounge room or something.
I wish my nana had a lounge room that nice, actually.
Now, what's coming up next? We've got the cruise.
We've got Summer Cruise, Friday the 2nd of Feb, which is leaving from down Victoria Dock. Scotty Anderson, very popular
we know Scotty.
DJ out on the scene, will be entertaining us through the night. So it's much bigger than previous years. I'm not sure if you've been on the previous cruises. The boat we've got this year is double and a bit more the size.
So what's the kind of crowd capacity on this new
600.
boat? 600.
600. It's huge. It's a whole...
And you can't get away from them because you're on the water.
Well, there are a couple of different decks and there are different zones. You'll be able to move around and take a break if you need to.
Yeah. I
think you could probably go out on the upper deck as well, but
and
for
when
a bit of fresh air.
When does that begin and end? Is that a long cruise? A couple of hours? 3 hours?
It's a 4-hour cruise. It's 7:30 down at the docks for leaving at 8 o'clock, and then we're through to midnight.
Yeah, and where does the boat go?
Nobody ever looks. It probably goes to Tasmania and back, and we have no idea. It goes around the bay. There's lots of sailing past container ships, and then you do the whole, Docklands thing and whatever, and then we go out into the bay for a while. I think it depends on the weather, actually. If it's choppy, they're reluctant to take you out too far, and if they're feeling brave, they take us where they need to.
Well, that's... I've never been on one of those cruises. I'm allergic to being, as I say, stuck on the one boat with the same people.
You're worried
and I can't
about
leave.
the confined spaces.
I'm worried about not being able to take a quick motor launch back to shore, I think.
Do you want to lie down? We could talk about that properly.
No, I don't think so. And what else have we got coming?
Well, obviously there's Carnival. Sunday the 11th of February.
And Treasury Gardens again.
Treasury Gardens again. Very successful venue last year, and we're back there for a second time.
Mm-hmm.
There's big main stage entertainment this year, so we're putting all the finishing touches on that now.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be some more returns to a very traditional carnival, including some Ferris wheels and
Mm-hmm.
carnival style rides, which we're getting sorted now. A very big tea dance with headline international DJ Alan Thompson, who's a resident at Ministry of Sound,
Mm-hmm.
who we've brought out to headline a big tea dance this year. And obviously old favourites like, Dog Show, which will have a couple of hunky celebrity judges and some...
Oh, Dulcie, yes.
Indeed.
And
so
Brodie Holland or whoever.
well, that would be telling, Doug. You just have to turn up on the day for our special
Oh,
celebrity dog show.
That'd be such a tease.
Well, that's the idea, isn't it? So shaping up to be a really big carnival as well.
Yeah. There were a lot of concerns about going back to Treasury, weren't there? And now with the drought on and everything else, there's been a lot of talk about, like, the flower show shouldn't be at the exhibitions building and all that. Has that caused any more pressure on you over the Treasury Gardens thing?
As it turns out, Stage 3 water restrictions have meant that virtually no park in Melbourne is right for running events right now. In fact, they're not really right for anything. If you've noticed, everything's
yes.
not looking so good. It was almost to the point where we were going to ask carnival punters to bring along a bottle of Evian and do their bit for Treasury. Thankfully, City of Melbourne have been very supportive and are helping us out with water and various other kind of things that we need to make the site more amenable for the day. And we have we obviously learnt a lot from running Treasury last year, and our impact was fairly minimal. I think everyone was surprised by how minimal the impact of 20,000 people could actually be on that park. We're doing everything we can to make sure that our impact on the park is abated this year, so we're fine.
It's a good location because it's much better, I think, to be in the city and visible rather than being tucked away down by the river, nice though it was down there.
It's also great for public transport.
That's
it's a lot
true.
more accessible for public transport than the previous site. So
what we have to do now is get Pride coming down Swanston Street.
Everyone says that, but I had a great time at Pride. I think Pride, there'd be something missing if Pride wasn't in Fitzroy Street. I thought even with the washout at Pride this year, it's still, it tests people's mettle, doesn't it? Only the hardcore is still marching once it starts pouring down with rain, but I certainly had fun, and I don't think they could do it anywhere else but Fitzroy Street.
No. You've been working very closely with Pride this year.
Yeah, we share some resources with them for production. We just sort of thought it was better to kind of have some overlap if we could. But they're two fundamentally very different events, and the Pride March organisation has got a terrific handle on what it needs to do. So we're trying to help each other here and there. And
well, I think sharing resources is obviously the way to go because there's only limited resources to go round.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're not a big community.
Although I got to say, Will, our production manager, is looking pretty bedraggled after opening night and then Pride March 2 days later. The poor bloke needed to go to bed for 3 days.
Well, perhaps you need to get another member of staff on board.
He's got a great team, but Will still looks bedraggled. That's his thing.
So overall, how would you say the whole thing is going? I mean, better than last year?
It feels better than last year. I think it's a festival that changes slightly each year. We have a few radically different events and a few old favourites where we kind of hold on to the formula. I'd say that it's going well. We've had great feedback, and of course everyone's always ready to kind of make suggestions, and we'd like to think we're pretty open to taking them on board. But it seems to be going well.
Well, there you are, everybody. If you've got any suggestions for Midsumma, this is the man to take them to. I'm Doug Pollard, and I've been talking to Glyn Cryer, the chair of Midsumma. Thank you, Glyn.
Thanks, Doug.
Hi, I'm Jo Mullins and you're watching Studio Q. With me I have Greg Campling.
Hello.
And together we are interviewing Billie Lime, who is here to talk about her new night at Alia called Emerald Clutch. Billie, you've been a performer for many years and now you're performing Emerald Clutch. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, Emerald Clutch is kind of a new direction of where I've been over the years as a performer, and I'm drawing more upon artistic influences this time. So it's much more sort of cabaret Voltaire, Dada, fun, art happening versus polished performance. It's more of a sort of spontaneous experience,
It's
if you like.
Very improvised theatrical experience.
Definitely. If you're seeing me do a show, I've not rehearsed it at all. I've put the sound together and the costume and the props, if there are any involved. But as far as the actual show, you're seeing it live firsthand without any rehearsing.
And you've been performing for a long time now. You started out in burlesque.
I did, yeah. I was taken on board by the Burlesque girls who were friends of mine before they started burlesque. And so I did a lot of fun performance art, crazy SM shows with them before they started burlesque. And yeah, they brought me on board. I did a couple of shows and then they asked me to be a sort of regular burlesque girl, which was quite fun.
Having not done that before, how difficult was it for you to move into that kind of world?
Well, being around Sex and Glitter, who just make you feel so comfortable, they're so vibrant, I kind of just felt like I fitted into their world easily and was able to find my own place within that as a performer. And yeah, just I felt inspired constantly. It was really something that at the time came quite easily. Yeah, it was fun.
And you also have performed in Germany, in Berlin, for several years. Can you tell us, what was that like?
That was great. I was able to sort of expand my performance base in a bigger sort of scene and on different levels, with a combination of doing my own shows on nights that were actually gig nights with musicians, also performing on stage with musicians. I ran my own night that was also a sort of similar to Emerald Clutch, a performance-based night. And yeah, and I also did backup dancing and touring as well.
Fabulous. Was language much of a barrier?
At times it was, like definitely, like people say you don't need to speak German when you go to Germany, but you actually do in day-to-day scenarios. And if you really want to get a sense of the culture, that it's such a fascinating culture. I think to not speak German, you're really missing out on that funny intellect, on the sense of humour, because German people come across as really arrogant, and if you don't get past that arrogance, I think you'd really miss out on the sort of cultural experience. Because it's very easy just to hang out with the English-speaking people, and you're not developing that sort of experience for yourself.
I imagine the club in Germany, in Berlin, was quite different from what we have here.
It was amazing, and I still sometimes miss it. It's like the city that never sleeps, and there's so many little bars, so many fabulous bars that stay open till whenever they feel like it. Anyone can walk in, they're just totally mixed, funny bars where anything can happen really, no one bats an eyelid. Like there's nothing really shocking. People are out to party. If they're out to party, they could be partying for days and it's not an issue, it's just what they're doing. And yeah, the club scenes, it's just amazing how many people are going out and how often, and a different sort of attitude to partying. Did
your experience in Berlin have much of an impact on how you perform now back in Australia? Not just your performing, what you saw on that, but just like the culture as a whole. Yeah, I think as far as growing as a person, absolutely, and experiences. I think I'm still processing all of that because it was such a big part of my life for 3 years. And I think mostly artistically, there was so much art everywhere I looked, even just being in the city and riding my bicycle around at night or going out to bars. There's so much that you can really soak up as a cultural and artistic experience, and definitely I guess you could see glimmers of that in the way that I perform, in the way that I host, in the characters that I bring through. I think definitely, and I'd really hope that I'm bringing those through because it's something that I definitely feel a passion for. Yeah.
What was the reason to choose Berlin and Germany over any other country?
I don't know. I was living in Sydney at the time, and it was just a city that came to mind, and I just felt like going off on an adventure the first time that I went. And yeah, it was kind of like I've always wanted to see the world, and it's like, okay, I'll start here. So now you're back in Melbourne. Where do you see yourself develop, or how do you see yourself developing as a performer? Well, really I'm focusing on Emerald Clutch, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, and I'd like to allow myself to develop with the night, with the other performers, with the DJs, with the crowd, the audience, the people who come along, and allow that to be a real sort of mishmash. And I'm not putting too much of a restrictions, or I don't know the word, like I'm just allowing that to sort of happen. There's a concept for the night which is mostly sort of relaxed lounge, sort of camp music, camp shows, fun, and I'm happy to see how that develops over time.
Yep. How did the audiences generally react to your audience participation sort of interactions?
Well, it's been great. Like, most of the nights have been smaller and more intimate, so the people that come really feel like they're involved, and everybody loves anything. It's almost like I feel like I could be as silly as I like, and I'm still going to get a few claps, and everyone's going to go fabulous, and we'll all have another drink. And we've been rolling around on the floor, dancing around. It's just been a really fun atmosphere, and I hope that continues and more people come down and join in on the fun.
You're watching Studio Q. We're talking to Billie Lime. We'll be back after these messages.
And you can catch Billie and Emerald Clutch every Sunday night from 8 p.m. to late at the Alia Bar on the corner of Gertrude and Smith Street in Fitzroy. For more info, check out www.myspace.com/Emerald Clutch.
Hi, Michael King here with the last little segment for tonight's show, our first show for 2007. I have an exciting guest all the way from the UK. Some of you have probably seen her before. I think she's a return item, but it's Dolly Diamond. How are you, Dolly?
I'm very well indeed. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Lovely to be here.
I was correct in saying that you have been here before.
Yes, my fourth Midsumma.
In a row?
Yes, you try and stop me.
But this is, obviously, you're performing for Midsumma?
Yes, I've got a little show on the February 8th to the 10th in the loft at Chapel off Chapel.
So that's the 8th, 9th and 10th, and if I'm not wrong, there's actually 2 shows on the 10th.
There is, you're quite right.
Up in the loft?
All live singing, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're not miming.
No.
So, and is there a bit of, like, audience participation involved?
Yes, but it's not a sing-along as such, but I do encourage them to open up. There's no point sitting there like a stone mallet, is there?
Interesting question that leads me on to is there a difference between our Australian audiences and UK audiences? What they find funny, we find funny? Is it?
Yes, cricket aside, I think. But generally, I think funny's funny wherever you are in the world.
Last year would have been your year for cricket, not this year.
Yeah, no. And I've got to be honest. Sport eludes me. I'm not terribly interested. I don't mind watching them just to see what they wear. But other than that, I think it's people. Funny is funny, as I say. And Australian audiences is, as I said, 4th time. So I love them. They know how to laugh. They know how to have a good time. I mean, Australia has its own, obviously, its own brand of comedy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think it like every country, it draws from other countries, which makes it even more successful. You've got to be able to take the best from everywhere. You add it in with what you've got. You've got your own unique blend as well. And I think that's important.
You've been to Australia for 4 years running now. You're saying,
yes.
But have you been performing for many more years than that over in the UK?
Oh, I'm an old pro, and yeah.
I'm leaving that one alone.
If you like. I don't mind. And what it is, I think I perform back in the UK, of course, and coming here is a wonderful break for me. I come for about 3 months, take in the atmosphere, soak in that sun, and then do the shows, and then I have a little holiday afterwards. So for me, it's great. I get to enjoy Australia for all that it's got, and then and do some shows as well. So yeah, of course, I perform back home in the UK, similar thing to this, and similar shows, that sort of thing. And but it's just a joy coming out here and be able to do it.
How did you actually get your start?
Well, I started on that, just hoofing away, really, doing nightclubs and bars, and I produce my own shows here, as you say, and occasionally back in the UK. It's all sort of a different way of doing it back at home, though. It's more geared up to having a cabaret act on that night in the club or in the bar or whatever it is, and then if people don't want to watch it, they either move to a different area or they shut up. And but it's great coming here, doing it with that sort of intimate loft at Chapel, because people are sitting down and they paid to see you, they want to hear you, and it's more conducive to that kind of cabaret.
Yeah, not necessarily just turning up to a club where you happen to be performing.
Exactly.
And that's not what they're paid for.
Yes, although back in the UK, where people do come and see you, some people are going there specifically on that night to see you, just not paying, which is, it's a shame, isn't it? But you get paid, of course, by the venue, so either way you leave with a handbag full of money.
And it's a whole new show this year?
I wouldn't say it's completely brand new, no, I'm not going to lie to you, and but there's a lot of new stuff. I tried, I did 1 year back in the UK where I did nearly an all-new show, and people don't like it. People like to hear the favourites.
Well, it's kind of like Madonna or Kylie or anyone coming out and
thank you.
singing that tune that
I
you
do.
particularly love because she's
Yes.
going to sing her new album.
Absolutely.
And how pissed off would you be?
I'd be very angry indeed. Yes, no, of course. So songs like I Will Survive, the Beckhams and Que Sera Sera, I changed the lyrics to songs. I parody them. And so they'll still be in it, but there's a few new ones as well. So I think a mixture of old and new is always a good idea. It's a good marriage of it.
Do you do it like an oops, I did it again?
No, but I can. You hum it, I'll do it. And no, it's as I say, it's like cabaret. I'm a big fan of Liza and Shirley Bassey. It's a lot of old show tunes with some new ones as well.
Well, they're big voice numbers.
I've got a big voice.
Really?
Yes.
You've got a set of lungs?
Yes. We won't go any lower. But I have, and I like belting out the songs, But I used to live in Australia many years ago, and I love the mime as well. I don't think it's all about singing live. I love the mime as well, and you've got people like Candy and Barbara Quicksand and all of that doing it. I think a combination is always good, and I think if I do come again, a little bit of mime will thrown in as well, because there's a talent to singing live, of course, and to mime. If it's done well, it's done well.
And you'll actually be down at Picnic Day.
I will.
And I understand you're actually hosting one of the stages?
On the main stage at Carnival. I'm thrilled, I've got to say, thrilled. And so we'll be doing all that, and there's lots of acts on there, and I think we'll actually be doing some presenting together backstage.
Well, this is true. You have to stay tuned for future episodes of Studio Q to catch up with exactly what Miss Diamond and I did at the Midsumma Festival, or Carnival Day, to be precise.
Yes.
Now, I'll introduce her in just a moment, but this show is not a one-woman show, is it?
Well, it is, apart from the fact that I brought a friend along, so I get where you're going. But no, I brought a friend along who's an absolutely wonderful performer that has its own show in the UK, and I brought her along, Lizzie Drip, absolutely fabulous, one of the best cabaret acts that the UK has produced, and is over here with me this time, and I think we're going to be meeting a little bit later, is that right?
That's right. Well, actually, through the modern wonders of television, Lizzie's joining us now.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us all the way from the UK.
You're welcome.
It's almost like a live satellite sort of cross sort of thing, except you're actually here.
In the flesh.
And how long have you been performing? Is this your first time out to Melbourne, or?
First time in Oz, yeah. I've been doing this for 26 years.
Wow.
I started when I was 7, and yeah, the first time, and my good friend here, Dolly, flew me all the way from the UK to perform in her show at Chapel of Chapel.
In the loft.
In the loft.
Chapel of Chapel.
She didn't tell me I was working in a loft.
On the, I think it's just to remind everyone, the 8th, 9th and 10th
Exactly.
of February. And I can even maybe give you a phone number later in the show. So where does this dichotomy, where do the two of you fit in terms of the performance?
Well, I mean, we'll start the show, and I think Lizzie comes on about halfway through, and it's different to what I do. It's well, I'll let you explain.
Because what I mean is not Dame Edna and the bridesmaid.
No, not at all. No,
Madge.
definitely both brides in this show. And no, I start the show, and it's always done in that same sort of way. But then Lizzie comes on and does well, it's unique, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I'm a mime act. I work with puppets and animated costumes, and I take the piss out of all the famous divas, from Cher to Bassey, Montserrat Caballé, Dolly Parton. But each one has a twist.
I know that audiences are going to love it, because it is different. It is unique as well. It's different and unique back home, so it certainly is here. You know. And as I say, with the puppets and the costumes, they're brilliantly designed, and you control them very well. Don't you?
I think so.
You're good.
We've got singing boobs.
So is there a bit of a banter goes on between you as well?
No, all a little bit separate, very separate,
Oh, okay.
because Lizzie's been established in the UK even longer than I have, and definitely another old pro, and it's going to be doing it's good.
Not
It's
wrong
that
there,
section of the show will be Lizzie's, so it's all about Lizzie, not nothing to do with me.
A chance for you to pop out and change your frock.
There is
that
that
what it's
as well.
about?
There is that.
Quick gin and tonic.
Yes.
Flag in the back room.
Absolutely. I've given up fags.
Have
I've
you given
had
up
to
it?
as part of my New Year's resolution.
That explains the
what
weight
was it?
Yes,
gain.
yes, eh?
Whenever he says to me I'm going out for a fag, I always say, what's his name?
Yes, no, I've given up that too as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I just want to repeat for you, it's on the 8th, 9th and 10th of February.
Yes.
There's 2 shows on the Saturday, 7 and 9 p.m. And just quickly, I'll give you the number that you can call, which is 82907000, or you can indeed contact us at benttv.org.au. The actual email address is feedback@benttv.org.au. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining us today. All the best with the show.
Nice to be
Miss
here.
Diamond herself, though, will be joining us for several, backstage interviews down at Carnival Day.
Absolutely.
And several other surprises throughout the Midsumma Festival. So you should stay tuned to Bent TV, 10:30 Thursday night. Thank you very much for joining us.
A joy.
And we'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
Mm-hmm.